It seems to me that we have to have the spirit that Plato reported, that all things are to be examined and brought into question, that there is no limit set to thought. And that's what I think, that's the spirit that we need on a university campus, and that's the spirit really that we need in this election year of 1968, to examine everything, not take anything for granted, to examine everything and see where we are, as Abraham Lincoln said in 1858, where we are. Only when we know where we are will we know where we can go and how we can get there. We must look carefully and honestly at our policies abroad. We must examine how we can help the millions of our fellow citizens who lead lives of hopelessness and poverty. As Sophocles said, where day follows day, with death the only goal. What joy is there in day that follows day, with death the only goal? We must decide what moral obligations we have to the other peoples in the globe, peoples of Latin America, and some of the villages that I visited, and I'm sure that some of you have visited, where 7 out of 10 children die before their first birthday, that the average person who dies in Latin America is under the age of 4, that the starvation and the difficulty and the hopelessness that face those people. About the men in Asia who have less to eat now than they did at the start of the decade. About those in Africa whose every living moment is filled with disease. For those who know only suffering and deprivation, where we lead relative lives of comfort and of happiness. Where each year, at some time that all of this is going on all over the globe, each year we in the United States spend $3 billion on pets, almost $2 billion on dogs, and yet all of the starvation and all of the suffering takes place all over the rest of the globe. These men and women and children that we hear about and which I'm talking about now, they're not statistics. They are human beings that I have seen and I think that many of you have seen, each with a right to lead a life of dignity and purpose, just as much as you and I have. We happen to be fortunate enough to be born in the United States of America. We happen to be fortunate enough to be able to attend a high school and then go on to a university. But what did we do in our lives that gives us that right, instead of being born in northeast Brazil and not even living to your first birthday? Or being born in East Africa or Tanzania, and where 97% of the people are illiterate. What did we ever do, or what did we ever contribute? And what can we ever say that we ever did? What really is our purpose in life? When it finally comes down to it, that we could be born with all of these advantages that we enjoy here in the United States, and they, 70–80% of the rest of the world, suffer as much as they do. And when you finally decide that, then you must also decide what we can do to make up for all of the advantages that we have. Don't we have a major responsibility to those that do not have those advantages? Don't we have a major responsibility, not the government of the United States, but we as individuals have a major responsibility and obligation to those who don't have the advantages that we do?